Hare Krishna and good evening, Namaskar to everyone. Welcome to today's session number 31 of our systematic study of Bhagavad Gita. And this is our Gita Amritam Rasamalayam group. And we are so happy that we are going to start a new chapter of Bhagavad Gita today. That is chapter number 5. And this chapter is titled Karma Yoga Action in Krishna Consciousness. Karma Yoga Action in Krishna Consciousness. And just wanted to mention that there is a change of color. Normally, our slides are, as you must have noticed earlier, navy blue color in the previous 30 sessions. But new chapter, I just thought we'll take a new color, not because it is Valentine's Day or something, but this color is matching the color of our Goloka Express. So our Goloka Express is this color, as you will see in the next slide. And so I just thought, let's take for a change. We were used to the navy blue color, so now let's take this color. By the way, I happened to hear one particular small clipping of His Holiness Radhanath Swami on this Valentine's Day. See, most of us grew up thinking that Valentine's Day is a day for romance, you know, uh, between the couple. But he explains that Valentine's Day has got nothing to do with it. Valentine's Day is actually a day belonging to Saint Valentine. And this saint actually lived during the medieval times, and he was a very celibate person, and always preaching the message of love of God, from Jesus Christ. So that was his message, but for which he was punished by the local king, Roman king, and he had to sacrifice his head for that. So it was basically the head was chopped and complete bloodshed. And that day is actually called Saint Valentine's Day. And over a period of time, the so-called poets and everybody, they saw that this season is more for suitable for romance. They saw the birds and the bees all having romance during this time, so they thought it is suitable for the human beings also, and that is how the saint word was dropped and only Valentine's Day was kept. And then eventually the saint was forgotten and the purpose of that was forgotten, and it turned into a more of a romance kind of day. So you see how in Kali Yuga, I was actually just contemplating how things are deteriorating so fast. In a matter of few centuries, everything gets topsy-turvy, and the purpose for which somebody starts something is completely lost, and a new purpose for which it never began, that becomes the order of the day. That's very sad. So anyway, once again welcoming all of you, especially the people who have just joined in, and we are beginning chapter number 5, and this is our Goloka Express in which we are all traveling since chapter number 1. We will be together till chapter number 18, and this Goloka Express train will take us to Goloka Vrindavan. And we just love Goloka Vrindavan because Goloka Vrindavan is a place where every step is a dance, every word is a song, and every day is a festival. Imagine we celebrate only selected festivals, but every day is a festival, and every time there is an opportunity to dance. What a world that will be. So that is the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan. And in this chapter, chapter number 5, Krishna is now opening a new secret. He is slowly raising the conscious of Arjuna, and through Arjuna, he is raising our conscious also. Somebody has put something. Okay, thank you. So through Arjuna, he is also raising our bar, our consciousness. So in this chapter now is opening new secrets of Karma Yoga, especially this Karma Yoga is different from the Karma Yoga that we learned in chapter 3. Don't be confused. In chapter 3, we were discussing mainly on the types of actions. There is action as per scriptures, karma, actions forbidden by scriptures, that is vikarma, and no reaction. You do some, that is, I will not do anything. I will not take any action, akarma. And akarma has got another meaning also. That means I'll do action, but it will be having no reaction. Now, this chapter of Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness is dealing with that kind of akarma, where he is going to tell Arjuna that you have to do an action. Okay, we cannot stay inactive. We have to do an action, and through action, there should not be reaction also. So, how is it possible? Every action has got a reaction, isn't it? Even Newton's law also says the same thing. So there is a positive reaction for positive action, there is a negative reaction for negative action. And if you don't take any action, there is no reaction. But Krishna says it's better to act. Okay. At the same time, there should not be any reaction. So this is the wonderful teaching that we will begin with today. This whole chapter unfolds into so many different understanding, and slowly our window of learning will open up, and we shall see how we can implement that in our life. We go to the next slide. So as is customary, before I begin, I pay my respectful obeisances to my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Swarupa Damodar Swami Maharaj, also known as Dr. T.D. Singh in the scientific circle. He was the founding director of Bhaktivedanta Institute, and also is the founding director of Institute of Science and Religion. He is a scientist disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And as you can see, Srila Prabhupada is always attached to the lotus feet of Lord Nityanand, who is the Adi Guru. Nityanand is non-different from Lord Balram. And Balram is the first expansion of Krishna. So directly, when you're attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, then only one has to be a pure soul. Only that is possible. Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata guru. So through the mercy of Lord Nityananda, we got the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. That is, just few years back, Prabhupada came and did his Leela in this planet. And how well Prabhupada has nicely simplified and brought down the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So ours is a Parampara movement. It comes from top down, so that there is no distortion. We are learning knowledge as it is. And then, so one by one, below Prabhupada, the disciples. So I pray to my Guru Maharaj to bless me so that I'm able to speak something that is useful and purposeful for today's session. So we ended chapter 4. The chapter 4 was titled Jnana Yoga. So last week, His Grace Arjun Saka, he completed the chapter number 4. Okay. And the acronym for chapter number 4 was years. EARS. That is, the chapter was titled Jnana Yoga and the acronym was years. So E for eternal education. So where Krishna explained to us the history about how the knowledge is transmitted through Guru Parampara. So that's an eternal knowledge. And eternal knowledge comes from a particular process, and the process was explained by Krishna in verses 1 to 10. And then in the process, he also explained why he appears, and the purpose of his appearance, and how he appears. And also, Krishna mentioned about his divine appearance. That means his appearance is different from our appearance. So it is Janma Karma Chame Devyam. It is totally eternal. It is not to be understood like a mundane material birth. Then in verses 11 to 15, we learned the acronym A, which stands for accurate understanding. So in under accurate understanding, Krishna gave us some knowledge about how he reciprocates. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam tadeva bhajamyaham. So as you surrender to me, he says, I reciprocate. That means if you surrender more to him, he will reciprocate more. And this, many of us in devotional service in Krishna conscious movement have seen the Lord's reciprocation either directly or through his servants, or sometimes even when we do deity worship at home, we see even the deities, they are not just murti sitting at home like that. They are prana pratishtha. And when you serve them with love and devotion, patram pushpam phalam toyam yami bhakta prashyati, then they also reciprocate. There are different ways they reciprocate. That's a different subject matter, but here in the accurate understanding, Krishna reveals all those things. And Krishna also mentions how he created this world with four classifications. Chatur Varnam, Maya Srishtam, Guna Karma, Vibhagasha. So he says, I made the four classifications of Chatur Varnam. So, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. It is not to create a difference of society, it is to create a harmony in society. So, they are based on the skill sets. We all have different skill sets. So, based on what skill sets we have or what qualities we have, we are classified in a particular category. So, he explains that also in verse number 13. And then Krishna also says that he is not affected by the work that he performs. Like we are all having reactions, whereas Krishna says that I am not affected. He says Namam Karmani Limpati. So this is actually he is not affected by it. And then under R, he actually teaches between verses 16 to 24 how the reactions are acting and how the reactions can be removed. So here he explains under this section the various types of karma. It is karma, vikarma, and akarma. So as we know, karma is something that you follow as per the scriptures. The scriptures are giving certain guidelines, what to do, what not to do. That is prescribed activities, as we say, for the four varnas and ashramas. So you follow that, then you get positive reactions. But if I abuse it or I don't follow it, I do my own act as per whimsically, then I get viprit action, viprit reaction. That is vikarma. Okay. And then the third category is like, for example, you must have seen the Jain Munis and all that. They just wear the, they cover the eyes, ears, and everything because they feel that we should not do any activity. So they refrain from doing any activity. So refraining from doing any activity means I could get no reaction only. So that is one way to understand akarma. Then he briefly also says Krishna, there is another akarma. That is, I do some work, I do some activity, but I don't incur any reaction. That is karma yoga in Krishna consciousness. So that will be explained in detail in this chapter, chapter number 5. Okay. And then, of course, Krishna also mentions in that between verses 16 to 24, he mentions about we should renounce we should not renounce our activity, but we should renounce our selfish mentality in our activity. And all the actions that we do are actually meant for sacrifice or yagya. Then he goes on to explain the next S, that is in the under the years, EARS, S, that is sacrifice. So where from verses 25 to 42 until the end of this chapter, chapter number 4, it was beautifully explained where different types of sacrifices were explained by the Lord, and also how to gain the transcendental knowledge was also explained. I mean, the process is to receive through Guru. That is what he said. And he mentioned that when we receive this kind of transcendental knowledge, then that will lead us to the process of purification, and ultimately this will lead to liberation. Ultimately, we all want to be liberated from this bondage of this material cage. That's why when we receive the knowledge from the Guru, it is a knowledge that is top down, and it is a knowledge that is coming through oral way. So we have to hear. That's why it is also said, in fact, in one of the Vedic aphorisms, is that aim to see God through the ears rather than eyes. It is okay to say that seeing is believing, but it is not all the time working in spiritual world. In material world, that may be true, but in spiritual world, one can see God through ears. One can see God through your different activities. One can see God through nature, Mother Nature. In different ways, one can see and perceive God. So every act can be an act of a prayer. So that is what we summarized, and Arjun Saka last week covered, and he completed the chapter. And the quiz part was pending of chapter 4. So today, out of our 5 quizzes in the end, the first 2 quiz will be for dedicated for chapter 4, which we could not conduct last time. And the next 3 quiz will be for chapter 5, which we'll be discussing today, verses 1 to 7. Okay. So now we are beginning chapter 5. So, like every chapter, we have an acronym. So, what is the acronym for chapter 5? So His Grace Gaurang Prabhu says that we are like active beings, and constantly we are planning for our future. Our mind is very active. So it begins with our thoughts, and these thoughts, whatever they say, mind is a reservoir of thoughts. So thoughts translate into actions. Okay, and when this action you do repeatedly, it becomes a habit, and from habit, our character is made up. Good habits lead to good character, bad habits lead to bad character, and this character is what actually takes us to the destiny. This character takes us destiny. So this is very very important to understand the the methodology of how it works, because there are different uh, it's a journey. Life is a journey, and then it can lead us to a complexity. If you make a wrong choice, we enter into like a quicksand. We keep on getting dragged into the world of complexity. At the same time, if you take the right decision, then it can lead us to liberation, freedom, and tranquility. So we have to make the right choice. So therefore, it is said that every journey in our life, starts with a step, and this is indeed the acronym of chapter number 5. So the acronym is STEP, STEP. S stands for stay in the world. 3 stands for 3 doers. There are 3 doers. And E stands for equal vision. And P stands for peace. S for staying in the world. 3 for 3 doers. E for equal vision. And P for peace. So in short, it is called S. And this, if you follow, that is chapter 5, this is the first step. I mean, this that takes us out of the entire Bhagavad Gita. This chapter will, if you understand it properly, it will take us from the world of complexities, and we are entangled in the world of complexities, to liberation, freedom, and tranquility. That's for important. So, verse number 1 to 12 of chapter 5 deals with staying in this world. Verse number 13 to 16 deals with who are the 3 doers. And verse number 17 to 26 is equal vision. And verse number 29, which is one of my most favorite verses of the entire Bhagavad Gita. In fact, I had the opportunity of serving on this verse in ISKCON Boston in 2016. When I was a visitor there to meet my son there, and they told me to speak on this particular verse. And I was greatly delighted to serve on this verse. So this is a very beautiful verse. I would request everyone to memorize this verse 29, because this verse, if we understand, then we'll understand that who we are. We are Mr. Nobody. We are just Mr. Nobody, but we are somebody in relation to the Supreme. That is the most important part. So we are in relation to the material world. We have to just think that this is not the right place for us to live for too long. But as long as we have this body, we have to be in this material world. At the same time, we should we should come to a level where we are directly able to serve the Lord, so that it's a seamless entry into the spiritual world. That is where our Goloka Express train is heading to. So it is chuk 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 chuk. It has come to chapter 5, slowly but steadily. And I'm sure, with the seriousness that all of you are showing in the study. In fact, I would urge everyone to, if somebody has not bought Bhagavad Gita as it is, please buy it and start reading it, and come prepared for the class, so that, I will even keep some time for question and answer also. Not necessary only for quiz, but maybe 5 minutes question answers, because, or if somebody is not able to ask, please put it in the group, so that everybody understands. Nothing is silly. No question is silly, because from one question, the Pandora box will open, and some other questions also will come up. So we want the group family to be actively involved, actively interacting with one another, because there are so many groups discussing other matters. We are not concerned about that. Our group is focused on only spiritual matter, that too only Bhagavad Gita. Whatever Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, it is philosophical content, but when we implement in our life, then it becomes bhakti, then it becomes devotional service. Otherwise, it remains on paper as a theory, and it will just carry dust. That's all. Okay. So, so let's see the summary of the flow of chapter 5 before we begin verse number 1. So, as I said, chapter 5 is a step. So, verse number first verse, that will be Arjuna's question on which is better, sannyasa renunciation or working with the detachment, that is karma yoga. So this doubt has come because the fourth chapter ended with a confusion actually, because Krishna explained properly, but still Arjuna understood it in a different way, and perhaps he understood it in that way for our benefit, because most of us understand it that way. So we will see how he understood that, and how the chapter ended. Then verses 5.2 to 5.6, Krishna is giving his verdict that Karma Yoga is equal to Jnana Yoga, but in the end he will also say it is better than Jnana Yoga. Then 5.7, that's where we'll end today. He's saying performing Nishkama Karma Yoga, the yogi can come out of the bondage of material world. Then 5.7 to 5.12, which will be covered next week by Sham Sundar Prabhu, where the characteristics, various characteristics of Yoga Yukta person, or a person who is in devotional service, will be discussed. And then from verses 13 to 16, the three doers, who are responsible for performing our action. One is we, Atma, we are the initiators of the action. Then there is a sanctioner, that is Paramatma. And then there is Prakriti, or the environment around us, who is the executor. So all the three are required. It is not that we alone are doing it. We desire something, it is sanctioned, and then we use the resources from Prakriti to help us achieve it. So that is what the three doers are. And then there is E, equal vision, from verses 17 to 23, I think. That is how to attain liberation. And then, as I said, my favorite verse, which is 5.29, which is basically Srila Prabhupada says it's a peace formula. If the entire world, I mean, each and every living entity, it follows this particular verse, 5.29, and lives by this verse, trust me, this world will be a peaceful place to live. It will be full of harmony, and, it will be a pleasure. Each one will be helping one another. Okay, so now we see what is the link between chapter 4 and chapter 5. Before we begin chapter 5, what is the link? So, chapter 4, as you might know, I mean, we can say that, in right from chapter 1, we know is basically just the layout of the army, observing the army, the strength and weakness, SWOT analysis from both the sides. Then in chapter 2, it was primarily uh, the knowledge of soul, Atma, and clear distinction between spirit and matter. And then there was a conclusion that we are not this body, but we are Atma. And then the properties of Atma was also mentioned in chapter number 2. Then in chapter number 3, Krishna actually explains what is our goal of life. What is like we are present in this world. So he talks about karma yoga, because we cannot be idle. We cannot be sitting in one place and doing nothing. So we have to do some work. So he says there are different types of karma. You have to follow the certain process, that is Vedic process is given. It is outlining so many things. So karma, then if you don't follow it properly, then it's vikarma. And then if you don't do anything and no good, no bad, neutral, then there is akarma. Also, he says that if you do things, but then there is no reaction to it, that is working for me or Krishna, he says, then that is also akarma. Okay. Then he goes on to chapter 4, where he gives Jnana Yoga, the knowledge of transcendental knowledge. So in that he says how to attain purification, because ultimately purification leads to liberation. And the purification process he explains very nicely by giving the various types of sacrifices. Again, this all from Vedas. The different types of sacrifices are mentioned, and ultimately all these sacrifices culminate into transcendental knowledge. And as Krishna says subsequently in one of the verses, Vedesha Sarvam Amayeva Vedyam. Vedanta with Veda with Chahakara. So basically, he says, I am the purpose of understanding Veda. Vedesh, Vedesha Sarvam Amayeva Vedyam. So I am the purpose to, I am the knower of Vedas. I am the compiler of the Vedas. I am supposed to know, to be known from the Vedas. So, what is the purpose? See, people spend lifetimes after studying different Vedas and they don't come to a conclusion. That is really foolishness, because they are not looking at Shreyas, they are looking at only prayers, small time benefit. That means I want to achieve this success, I want to achieve that success, and I worship this demigod, I worship that demigods. And in the process, they are missing the point. And the point is, who is the cause of all causes? Hmm? Am Sarvasya Prabhava. That they are missing. So then in chapter 4, Krishna also mentions in the verse, second last verse of the chapter, to give up the fruitive mentality. That means he's not saying give up the actions, but he says give up the fruitive mentality. That means don't be attached to the results. That means you work also at the same time you detached also. Now this Arjuna has understood as giving up work. He thought what Krishna is mentioning is Karma-Sanyas. See the difference? Krishna never said Karma-Sanyas yet. Krishna said you renounce not your activities. He said renounce your fruitive mentality. But Arjuna understood as renounce your activities, Karma-Sanyas. So this was in verse 41, that is second last verse. And then Krishna ends the chapter in 42. He says that Uttishta Bharata. That means, oh Arjuna, please wake up, please stand up and fight. Now, this put a big confusion in Arjuna's mind. What is this? On one hand, you're telling me to give up my work and everything and renounce everything. Other hand, you're saying next verse that, oh, stand up and fight. So this was the complete dilemma and confusion. So that's a link now. So we ended at fourth chapter there. Now we are beginning the fifth chapter with Arjuna's questions. So actually Krishna recommended the spirit of renunciation in work, not renunciation of work. So this is very, very clear. We have to understand renunciation in work is different from renunciation of work. Okay, so that was explained very nicely. And so now we will see what Arjuna is asking in chapter 5, verse number 1. We begin the first verse of chapter 5. The first verse goes like this: Arjuna vacha Sanyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shamsasi yashreya etayor ekam tanme bruhisu nishchitam va. So now he is clearly putting a question, very clear, crystal clear question. So Arjuna's understanding was, I have to renounce my work. not renounce in work. That means renouncing. There's you acquire knowledge and then you renounce in work. So his understanding was I have to renounce the work. Oh Krishna, you asked me to give up my everything, and then you are saying Uttishta Bharata, Atishta Uttishta Bharata. That means you wake up and then you fight. What is going on? On one hand, it is your now. So therefore, now he's saying Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna. So how these two will go hand in hand? It is like asking somebody to stop. Then you say move, move, move. Stop, stop, stop. Move, move, move. Arey, what am I supposed to do? So this is exactly what Arjuna was thinking. Oh Krishna, once for all, you tell me what what I need to do. Huh? Chapter 5 आ गया and my confusion is not gone. I'm trying from chapter 1, but my confusion has not gone. So the point here is a sannyasam karmanam Krishna. Let's see the translation. Is Arjuna says, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce my work, sannyasam karmanam, and then you now recommend again to work with devotion. That is punar yogam. So yogam means basically karma yoga. Okay, punar yogam, sa shamsasi. So you are recommending. Now you tell me between the two, yes, Shreya. Shreya means which is out of the two beneficial. Yes, Shreya, etayor, ekam. That means out of the two, any one you tell me now. Please don't tell me this also, that also, and then I'm confused now. Tanme bruhi, so nishchitam. You tell me clearly once for all, definitely, huh, which of the two is going to be beneficial. So clearly, this is a case of utter confusion. At the same time, hats off to Arjuna for and a fan unna podriya. Hats off to Arjuna for asking the question with full clarity. See, this is a lesson for us. Many a times we get doubts in our mind. Then we think, पूछना है कि नहीं पूछना है. In our college, we are ashamed to ask the question because our question worry is what others will think. Huh? This is such a silly question. This person doesn't know, and this is exactly what happens even in the spiritual discourses. 9 out of 10 people would have not understood it clearly or would have understood it in a speculative way or in a totally different way, and they'll think they are right. The correct understanding comes only from acharyas. That's why it's very, very important when we read Bhagavad Gita as it is, not only to read the verse, the translation, but also to read Srila Prabhupada's purport. The purport is nothing but the realization of a acharya, a realized soul. So when a realized soul speaks, it's a ready-made material. We have to just gulp it. It is already chewed by him. We have to just digest it. How simple it is. We don't have to put any efforts to even chew it also. So this confusion has come because of Arjuna's preconception. Hmm? Arjuna's preconception, because Arjuna thought, "Arey ho gaya, chalo chutkara pa liya. Now I don't have to fight my relatives. Let's quit the battlefield, huh? And then tata bye bye." So he was actually mentally preparing for that, which is not in keeping with his Kshatriya quality. So but it was mainly not Kshatriya also. He basically compassionate towards his relatives because he has seen them from very small age and therefore he was showing a lot of compassion. But then Krishna raises his level. Hmm? So, so the interpretation of the word of renunciation has been wrongly understood by Arjuna. Renunciation in work has been understood by Arjuna as renunciation of work. So this has been the main problem. So Krishna never told Arjuna to go to the forest, quit everything and go there and sit. Because Krishna knows even if you go to the forest, there also your Kshatriya spirit will come out and you'll start fighting with somebody there, or some animal you'll start killing there also. It's a spirit, automatically will come out. So therefore, the lesson for us is we don't have to go to a remote place, go to Himalayas, because this is not what Krishna is saying. We don't have to leave aside our our duties, our varnashrama duties, we don't have to leave aside. But how to add Krishna consciousness, that is what we have to learn from the essence that Krishna is trying to teach Arjuna. This is like, Arjuna's condition is like either A or B. Don't give me any other middle path. That means, let's say if somebody knows, let's say red color and blue color. Hmm? Now, when red and blue is mixed, what comes out? Violet. But I know only red, I know only blue. But when you start explaining to me the what is that the attributes of violet, I will think, but this is the attribute of red. Hurry, this is the attribute of blue. But what is coming out is an attribute of the mixture. It's a middle path. So Krishna is giving a third option now that Arjuna has not grasped. So that is what it is actually. So because of Arjuna's preconception that he had only two choices to make, either like a bipolar choice, either go to fight or you quit fighting. So this was the problem. But how to fight without incurring any reactions, that he was not knowing. So his worry was that if a fight, I mean, as we understood in first chapter itself, what I'll attain this, and they will all go here, they will go there. There'll be Varna Shankara and all that. So all those things he explained in a compassionate way. So this is what actually, in essence, this particular verse of Arjuna's question remains. So now we go to verse number 2. What is the verse? Now Krishna is replying. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Sanyasah Karmayogascha Nishreyasya Karabubo Tayostu Karma Sanyasad Karmayogo Vishishyate. तो संन्यास कर्म योगश्च निर्श्रेयस्य कराव उभो. That means Arjuna has asked, out of the two, which is Shreya, that he had asked. Okay. So now Krishna is saying, what Krishna is saying, Ubo. That means Ubo means both of them are Nishreya. That means what it means is both give long-term benefit. So Krishna is now further adding, he's not answering clearly this way or that way. He's saying both are good. Both the approaches are, Uho means both of them are Nishreyasya. That means both are having long-term benefit. Shreya means long-term, Preya means short-term. Preya, Shreyas. So both of them will give you long-term benefit. But now he says, Tayostu karma sanyasat. Among these two, he says karma sanyasat is basically karma yogo vishishyate. Karma yoga is vishishyate means better. So both are good, but he is giving a clear verdict. What is saying? Tayostu karma sanyasa karma yogo vishishyate. So now here, which sannyas are we talking of? We are talking of karma sannyas. That means the way that Arjuna is understood, not the way that Krishna explained in the previous chapter. Krishna explained what? Again, I'm highlighting renunciation in work. Arjuna understood as renunciation of work. That is karma sannyas. Okay. So we have to understand that our shastras, they basically recommend all this process of doing work for various kind of varnas and ashramas. Like for example, for brahmanas, the prescribed duty is what? Fire sacrifice, deity worship, uh, charity, patan patan, yajan yajan, dana pratigra. So to learn the shastras, teach the shastras, patan patan, yajan yajan, to do sacrifice and to teach the sacrifice, and dana, charity. So these are all the activities of Brahmana. So if a Brahmana does these activities properly, he incurs good karma and he attains promotion slowly by elevation in consciousness, and then slowly he gets liberation. It's a step-by-step process, takes a long time. Similarly, for Kshatriyas, they have to protect the Brahmanas, they have to protect the other citizens, they have to protect the Vaishyas, Shudras, they have to engage everybody, they have to protect the cows. Hmm? So they have to ensure that the yajna is done properly, for which milk production is sufficient for the cows. So take care of the cows. So all that protection work is the Kshatriya work. So if the and also protection against the enemies. If there are enemies attacking, then the Kshatriya king must stand up and fight and protect his citizens. So this is the Kshatriya's duty. If he doesn't do that, then he'll incur sins. Hmm? Similarly, Vaishya. Vaishya is supposed to do agricultural work. That means go krishi, the cow agricultural work, cultivation, crops, and also he will do like a mercantile and all these trading activities like a businessman, Vaishya. That's also required, and he can make little profit also from that. And then the Shudra. Now, Shudra is not to be considered this way that, oh, he's useless, so we have to exploit him. That is all man made. What Krishna says is for doing, helping the Vaishyas, for helping the, I mean, in cultivation, for helping the kings, for helping the Brahmanas, you need somebody to run and get something, to work with strong hands. That is, physically they are very strong and then they have to do some activity. There are some people who are bestowed with that. So that is Sudra. They have got skills to do that. So it is not to demote them or show them in a poor light as the British people made out our culture to be. They started calling it caste system. So that is not the way. So Shastras are prescribing all these ways. And in the process, each of these varnas are getting elevation. And slowly they get detached from their material bondage, because ultimately they are entering into higher realm. So that's the work, because ultimately this attachment is the cause of bondage. So if one can somehow or the other, some through some activity, minimize this attachment, then the bondage will automatically go away. Sometimes it is a point for us also to reflect. We are attached to our family, our immediate kids and kins. We are attached to our friends, relatives, society, uh, nation. As if that is not enough, even the pets. You know, now it's become a norm. In every house, there's a pet. It was not the case when we were small kids, but now in every house there is a pet. So what is happening is, in the name of loving, we are actually creating greater attachment. Now, if you have greater attachment, then you're actually voluntarily creating a bondage. And that is what we don't want. We have realized that this material world will keep you in this material world as long as you have bondage. So you have to slowly get rid of the baggage one by one. So a wise person or a realized person, a person in knowledge will understand this, and he will try slowly start to detach himself. One by one, slowly he'll start detaching. If our goal is only to take care of ourselves, like our body, comforts, family, and we completely ignore our, let's say, spiritual welfare or spiritual existence, then obviously what happens is we need to take another birth. We need to take another birth, and this birth, how you get, based on the previous body's karma, previous birth's karma. So that means this chain continues. We are not able to break the cycle of birth, death. We need to remember that our life span, it starts with the letter B and it's end with the letter D. B for birth, D for death. Correct? Is B in your control? No. Is D in your control? No. Why is my hand raised up? I'm seeing my hand raised up. Anyway, I don't know. Not able to do anything about it now. Okay. So is B is not in our control, D is not in control. So what is in our control? What is in our control? The alphabet C. C comes between B and D. Correct? So C is nothing but the choice that we make in our life. The choice, dear devotees, is in our hands, and B and D are not in our hands. If we choose voluntarily sense gratification, then we'll end up facing more problem. And with every sense gratification in the name of modern comforts, or in the name of whatever healthy lifestyle, we are actually creating more problem. We are creating more problem. For instance, I love Rasagola, let's say, and I go on eating Rasagola. It is giving me mental happiness. My taste buds are getting satisfied. But then the side effects, the long run, it will also lead to sugar problem in the body, diabetes. So we as human being, we have been endowed with the intelligence. We are the only species, because our Vedic aphorism starts with Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now you inquire. That is the aphorism. Because that inquisitiveness is inborn in human beings. So we are endowed with that intelligence to understand that this material world is not the place for us. It is it is it's temporary. It is not shashwat, ashashwat. It is ashashwat. There is no ananda here. There is only dukkha. And we by nature, our atma, we are shashwat. We are Sat Chit Ananda. Our nature is Ananda. So there is a heavy incompatibility. It's like, I take a fish out of the pond and I keep it on the land and I see what it does. It will just keep on, waiting when I'll put it back in the water, because land is not where it belongs. It will be suffocated. तड़प तड़प के बेचारा वो मर जाएगा. So we are actually in that stage, but we are not realizing it. Nothing is permanent in this material world. And this full world is a world of duality. There is a verse in Antalila, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, just trying to recollect. Dvaite Bhadra Abhadra Jnana Sabha Manodharma E Bhala E Manda E Sabha Brahma. That means Dvaite Bhadra Abhadra. That means the conception of good and bad is nothing but manodharma. It's a concoction of the mind. There's nothing like good, nothing like bad. It is just purely mental speculation. A bhala, a manda. That this is good and this is bad. Saptadeep might be understanding what is Bengali, right? A bhala, a manda, a saba, brahma. It's all illusion. It's all illusion. So, in this material world, we have to quickly understand and then align ourselves to the real goal and try to look for our spiritual welfare. Otherwise, all our degrees, all our aristocracy, whatever we acquire, they're all a big zero. Unless you add one to that zero has no value, and that one is nothing but Krishna consciousness. Only Krishna is that one. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So, as I said last time, 1 minus 1 is not 0. 1 minus 1 is 1 in spiritual world, and 1 plus 1 is also 1. So we have to add that. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, Jnana alone is not enough for liberation. It is just theory part, as we discussed in the beginning. It is good to know that we are not this body, Jnana. It is good to know that we are the spirit soul, Jnana. But we need to implement that. We need to implement that. And that implementation is a process called as devotional service or bhakti. Else there is no escape from this material world. So the only way out for us is Krishna consciousness, because Krishna consciousness or bhakti yoga, which will slowly unfold, leads to purification of our heart automatically. Okay, then we go to the next verse. So here already Krishna has given his verdict, Karma Yoga Vishishyate. That means Karma Yoga means basically what is indirectly hinting is basically working in devotion. Karma Yoga is better than Karma-Sanyas. So the personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But out of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. All right. So now we go to verse number 3. What is the verse? ज्ञेयः स नित्यसन्न्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न काङ्क्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते. Mahabahu. Arjuna is addressed here as Mahabahu. Mahabahu means oh mighty armed. What a beautiful way to address somebody. So he says Neha sa nitya sannyasi. That means such a person. Which person? Yona dveshti na kankshati. That means the person who neither hates, dveshta, na kankshati, nor desires the fruits of his action. Such a person, he says, is neha sa. That person is nitya sannyasi. Such a person is a nitya sannyasi. That means he is a real renounced person or nishkama karma yogi. And what are his qualities? Nirdvando. Nirdvando means what? He is free from dvando. Dvando is dualities. So he is above the modes of nature. No dualities. He is nirdvando. And such a person is sukham bandhat pramuchyate. That means he easily overcomes bandhat, that is a bondage, and is pramuchyate, is happy and is always liberated. Let's read the translation now. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his actions or activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty armed Arjuna. So such a person, I mean, let's say a Krishna conscious person or a devotee. In Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaridi tivrena bhakti yogena yajatam purusham para. That means a person who is akama or sarva kama, akama sarva kamo, means either he has got no desires or is full of desires, or he is basically looking for liberation, moksha kama, udaridi. So such a person also tivrena bhakti yogena jajatam purusham param. That means such a person also can worship Krishna. It is not out of the place to say that a devotee does not have desires. A devotee also may have some desires because we are all in a path of devotional service. We are all in a path. So in that, our degrees will vary. But slowly, the desires will be transformed from material desires to spiritual desires. So spiritual desire is our true desire. Material desire is a false desire. Why it is false desire? Because it is a temporary thing. What is the point if I say that I'm giving you 1 lakh, a reward to make you elated and happy, and then tomorrow I come back and I take it from you? You will be only dejected. So therefore we have to see what is temporary and what is permanent. So material things, material assets, successes, everything are all temporary. But we have this body. We have to do our duties. So the devotee prays Nadanam na janam na danam na janam na sundarim kavitamba jagatisha kameye mama janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhaktir aituki tvai. What it means? Such a person, when he is praying, he doesn't pray to accumulate wealth, nor does he pray that I desire a beautiful woman, nor does he desire for fame and a great number of followers. What does he desire then? He says that life after life or birth after birth, I want your costless devotional service. That means he is not averse to be born again in this material world, provided he is born in a devotional family, a devotee family, so that he can get a chance to do devotional service again. I mean, ideally, he would prefer to go to the spiritual world, but if not, at least settle to be born. So that is what his prayer is. And then he will say, Krishna, oh Krishna, if you so desire, he will not say that I want this, I want that. Krishna, if you so desire, please provide me what I lack for my, so that I can serve you better. And thus he becomes equipoised because he knows that it is Krishna who is giving him, it's Krishna who is taking away from him. So nothing belongs to him. He says that he is my master, I am his servant. So servant can take whatever he wants from me. He can give the servant whatever he wants. He is after all the master of the universe. I am his servant. Jevera Swarupoe Krishnera Nityadas. And then he also says, Mame Amsha, Jiva Loka, Jiva Buddha Sanatana. I am part and parcel of the Lord. So once we come to this understanding, it's a perfect understanding. But at the same time, we should not cross the limits. And by knowing all these things, oh, now I know everything, so I am God. A child is always a child, a father is always a father. Where a child may have father's qualities, but a child cannot say that now I've got his qualities, so I am father. No, that is not on. So similarly, we are Satchitananda. Lord is also Satchitananda, but we are basically Anu. Anu means we are tiny drop, Bindu. And Krishna is Vibhu, Sindhu, ocean. A drop of the ocean cannot be equated to the ocean. If somebody thinks that, he is the biggest fool. He is not becoming God, he is becoming dog in that mentality. So here, Sukham Bandhat Pramuchyate. So liberation here does not mean that after leaving the body only one gets liberated. One can be in this body and be liberated also. Jivan Mukta. That's called Jivan Mukta. So Nirdvando. Nirdvando is, for example, a person who is living but serving Krishna for satisfying Krishna's senses, for giving pleasure to Krishna, he is not concerned about what outside world thinks about him. He is not bothered. He is instead focused on his activities. And that in that sense, he becomes liberated. In that sense, he's a true renouncer. There is what is that? A famous statement of Prabodhananda Saraswati. He says, let me recollect. He says that if the whole world glorifies me, but if Krishna does not appreciate me, what is the use of that glorification? But if the whole world spits at me, but if Krishna recognizes me, then who cares for the spit? You see? So that means what is important is not whether the world appreciates you or spits at you. That is irrelevant. What is important in either situation is Krishna recognizing you? That is very, very important. So such a person is basically who can see that he is the real Sukham Bandhat Pramuchyate, that is Nirdvando or renouncer. So it's mentioned three qualities which I have just put it in the format for easy understanding. So Krishna says Nadveshti, that means freedom from hatred. Such a person will never hate anyone. In other words, if somebody is giving you sorrow, we usually develop a hatredness toward that person, isn't it? Because he's troubling me, or we object that particular person also. So we should resist that temptation. It's difficult, but we should develop that quality. Na kangshati, na kangshati is to have expectations in this material world. If we always keep thinking that if I do this, I'll become happy, we are generating more and more expectations, and this expectation will slowly take away our consciousness from the present. So we have to desist this kind of expectations and nirdvando, that is become free from the platform of dualities. So if we only get attracted to certain aspects of our existence, then the other aspects which we are not happy with, they'll be torturous for us and they'll bind us eventually. So we have to come out and come to the platform of becoming free from the dualities. If we do that, then God bless, we'll be getting ready for becoming free from the bondage in this material world. So a person, a Krishna conscious person, imagine he doesn't have to do anything separately. If he is constantly focused on serving his guru or serving Krishna, hmm, then he's not worried about other things. Whether people are talking bad about him, and his expectations only to please Krishna. His activities are focusing only on Krishna. Such a person is nirdvando, so he is liberated. Then we come to verse number 4 of fifth chapter. Sankhya yogo pratak bhalah प्रवदन्ति न पंडितः एकमपि अस्थितः सम्यक् उभयोर विन्दते फलम्. So Sankhya Yoga it's mentioned. That means two things now here. One is Sankhya. Sankhya is it's another name of Jnana Yoga, you can say. Sankhya. It is more detailed study of analytical study of the existence. Hmm? And typically people who renounce, they renounce by going into deep analytical study. That means from Jnana Yoga, we come to know through knowledge who we are, who the nature is, what is the nature. We also know that we are different from this body. And then we try to study more about our nature also. That is Sankhya. So then, Pravadanti na Pandita. That means na Pandita means somebody who is not learned. Pandita is learned, na Pandita is opposite. Na, so that means an ignorant person, you can say. Hmm? So an ignorant person, what it says, Sankhya Yogo Pratak Balaha. That means what is this? Such people, that means such people will start thinking, Bala means childish. They'll start thinking that Sankhya approach or Sankhya philosophy and the Karma Yoga approach, Karma Yoga philosophy are two different things. They are different. So that is basically childish. So who will think like this? The person who is ignorant or na pandita. Ekam api astita samyak. So ekam api astita samyak means, however, one who is situated hmm, in any one of them, that is analytical study or in the devotional service. That means Krishna says now ekam api astita. Astita means that is one who is situated in either Sankhya philosophy or in Karma Yoga, properly situated, samyak. Such a person, ubayor vindate phalam, he will get the fruits out of that, phalam. So let's see what actually similar results. So ignorant person, only the ignorant speak of devotional service as being different from the analytical study of material world. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these achieves the result of to both. That means ultimately what people are aiming for? Liberation. Karma Yoga also path. It's a different two different path. One path is also giving liberation. Jnana Yoga path is also giving liberation. Okay. So we have to understand this Sankhya philosophy little bit in more detail because it has not been covered in detail so far. So I have made it in the form of the various elements for us to understand a little bit more. So Sankhya philosophy means basically people who are jnanis, they are not devotees yet, they are jnanis, but they are realized souls. For example, they know that they are not this body. They know that they are Atma. Okay, they know Prakriti. They know Ishvara. But they don't know, they are trying to now study in an analytical way, not directly in a acceptance way. They want to do like research, philosophical kind of bent mind. So the aim of that is to basically to study the various aspects of the body and soul, and in the process they do analysis of this temporary material world, and ultimately it leads to detachment. And ultimately they try to according to Sankhya philosophy, there are five gross elements as Pancha Mahabhutas: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then there are four jnanendriyas or five knowledge acquiring senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. And the corresponding sense objects: for eyes it is sight, for ears it is sound, for nose it is smell, for tongue it is taste, for skin it is touch. And five karma indriyas or working senses: hands, legs, speech, genitals, and rectum. And so these are all gross elements. And then three subtle elements, which is mind, intelligence, and ego. So all these constitutes 23. And then they further study the unmanifested Mahat Tattva, that is, the various other elements like material consciousness and contaminated consciousness and all that. Then soul, Atma, and super soul, Paramatma. So all that put together is 26 elements. So they spend their life or life after life in trying to do research on these things. So it keeps them interested. They are more interested in analytical study. So in the process, what is their aim? Their aim is to find out what is the moola or root of the tree. Where does this moola go? That is what they try to find out. Hmm? So this is called Nivritti mark. This is also called as Nivritti mark. And then you have got this Karma Yoga, or which ultimately leads to Bhakti Yoga, where instead of here they are finding the root of the tree, whereas here they directly start watering the root of the tree. You see the difference? So there they're trying to find out which is the root, and once they find out, maybe they'll jump to Bhakti. But here, Bhakti is a directly lift process, or as we say, Karma Yoga is directly lift process. That means you directly accept the verdict of the acharyas who have already realized it, and then we understand who is the tree, what is the root of the tree, and then we try to gain that knowledge through Guru Shishya Parampara. तद्विधि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनां तत्त्वदर्शन. So the person who is Tattvadarshina, who is a seer, he will transmit by Bluetooth from his heart to your heart, provided you surrender to him, provided you are humble towards him, provided you are serving him with complete devotion. So this we already learned earlier. So this methodology of imparting the knowledge comes from Guru Parampara to Shishya. And this way, the knowledge, Krishna reveals the knowledge to the Shishya. So this mark is called Pravrti mark. So we have Nivritti mark, which is the Sankhya philosophy mark. And through Nivritti, they come to a level that the cause, the cause and effect, they study. And they understand that the cause is nothing but super soul or Paramatma. Then they start serving him. But by the time it is too late, because in the process, before they get to that stage, sometimes there is a diversion, there is a distraction of the material world, and then they may again fall down. Whereas when you are focused in Bhakti Yoga or Karma Yoga in Krishna conscious action, then you are all the time focused because there is a guru who is chastising you. He is keeping a watch on you like a father, and he will ensure that you don't go astray. Okay, then we come to verse number 5. Yat Sankhyaye प्राप्यते स्थानं तद्योगेरपि गम्यते एकं सांख्यं च योगं च य पश्यति न पश्यति. So here the goal is same as it is mentioned, that is Sankhya and Karma Yoga. The goal, it's the same goal. So one who knows that the position reached by the means of analytical study, that is Sankhya philosophy, can also be attained by devotional service, that is Bhakti Yoga or Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness, and who sees analytical study and devotional service on the same level, sees things as they are. That means, ya pashyati na pashyati, ya pashyati sa pashyati. So he is the actual seer. So it's like, we can say diversity diversity of path, but uniformity of goal, something like that. Different paths, uniformity of goal. So Sankhya path is a path of inaction, like I will not do any activity, but I will do research on these elements. So it's an intellectual retrospection or inaction, you can say inaction. Hmm? So for this, one has to develop solid detachment. That means first you have to develop detachment and then you can renounce the activity. Whereas in the Karma Yoga path, the detachment comes automatically because the focus is not detachment, the focus is attachment. Attachment towards the Lord. So uh, when you're attached to something higher taste when you're attached, then automatically the lower taste goes away, isn't it? When we were small, we were craving for lollipops. Then, as we grew, next level, from lollipop, we migrated to maybe chocolates, and then from chocolates to cakes. Now, somebody who is enjoying cakes, if you give him lollipop, he will say, cha, 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 I don't want that. That is for kids, isn't it? So, like that, when you get the higher taste, then automatically param drishtva nivartate. Then, when you get the higher, I think the lower taste goes. That is the path of Karma Yoga. And such a person who actually sees that in one sense it is non-different because the ultimate goal result is same. Yeah, pashyati na pashyati. That means he is a true seer. It's like let's say one X-ray film. Now, if you show me an X-ray film, I will not understand anything. But if you show the X-ray film to the doctor, he will look at it and he'll say, "Oh yes, there is a problem here in the chest, and maybe this person has got TB." But when we see it, we don't understand anything like that. So, so the person who is seeing, a seer, he is something like the person who is having full knowledge. Only a knowledgeable person can see. The ultimate goal of liberation, ultimate goal is liberation that is possible only through self-realization. So for self-realization, the spirit cannot be connected with matter because how can the matter be self-realized? If I connect to something that is not self-realized, it will not give me self-realization. So only when a spirit is connected to another spirit, the self-realization starts. And if that spirit, another spirit, is a really realized soul, then he can impart. And then he'll train me how to detach slowly from matter. Another analogy we can understand this is, see, I made a small this to understand. Now, if you have an axe in your hand, okay, now in Sankhya philosophy, first you have to practice detachment. So when you have an axe in the hand, and then I tell you the same hand, now you pluck these beautiful apples which are hanging so low. So first he has to decide how I have to leave the axe because in the same hand he has to pick up the apples. So first he will think, oh, I have to leave this axe. This axe looks so good. I have to throw the axe. So the thought process is first to leave the axe down, to throw it down, how to throw it, and then analyze whether something will happen. And then finally, after doing all that, he'll go and pluck the apple. In the meantime, in the second category, if a person who is in Karma Yoga, if you give the same offer to him, he will like the apple so much that without his knowledge, the axe will drop from his hand and he'll go and pluck the apple. Because he got attached to the apple, he lost focus on the axe in his hand. That is what we are supposed to do. We don't have to voluntarily give up anything. Oh, ये छोड़ना है, वो ये छोड़ना है, कैसा करेगा? नहीं होगा. You just try to get attached to something that is higher. When we do that, this slowly will go away. That is what Krishna is trying to educate Arjuna, that both will give us liberation, but somewhere subtle way he is saying that this is better. The verse number, second last verse, संन्यासस्तु महाभावो दुःखमाप्तुम् अयोगतः योगयुक्तो मुनिर्ब्रह्म न चिरेण अधिगच्छति. So here Krishna clearly explains, no ambiguity. दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी. So directly he is comparing the two, and he says very clearly that sannyasas tu mahabhavo. That means again he's addressing Arjuna as Mahabhavo, O mighty armed Arjuna. He says what? Dukkam aptum ayogata. That means when one does sannyas without uh, doing yoga, ayogyata means without doing karma yoga, directly you do sannyas, that means karma sannyas. That is, you renounce your action completely ayogata. Then he says that uh, what he says, yoga yukto munir brahma na chirena adi gachati. That means he says that such a person will find it very difficult to become free from bondage. Let's see the translation. That means mere renunciation is not enough, it is difficult, but devotional service is easy. So merely renouncing is not enough, because all the activities are mere renouncing all the activities, but yet not engaging in devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve supreme without delay. So that is yoga yukto. Yoga yukto munir brahma. That means somebody who is yoga yukto. Yoga yukta means somebody who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is a muni, muni brahma. Muni brahma na chirena. That means na chirena means it will not take a long time for him. Adi gachati. That means without delay, it immediately he will get the benefit. That is what Krishna is trying to say here. So again, we should understand that Jnana Yoga is a bona fide process, but it is a very long process. And it needs a prerequisite of purification of heart before we enter into renouncement of the prescribed duties. And if the heart is not clean, let's say it's not yet purified, then with the unclean heart, one may get unclean desires also. And that is where the danger is, because he'll still fall down. Whereas in Nishkama Karma Yoga, a person will engage all his senses in activities which focus on detachment to the results. He's focusing on detachment, but all the senses are engaged that way. So the service gradually purifies his heart. But still better is Bhakti Yoga, where the person works with full attachment to Krishna or Krishna, because you know that Krishna is the ultimate beneficiary, is superior. So all the gross senses, subtle senses will be completely absorbed in Krishna's service. Mana Krishna Padaravindiyor, Maharaj Ambarish, he engaged each and every part of his body. The eyes for seeing Krishna, nose for smelling the fragrance of the flowers offered to the Krishna, the ears for hearing the transcendental sound of Krishna, that is kirtans, etc. The tongue to taste Krishna prasadam and to chant, the hands to make garlands for the Lord, the legs to walk towards the worship of the deities, the mind completely absorbed in the lotus feet of the Lord. That is Mana Krishna Padaravindiyo. So in this way, each and every part, if it is focusing on the service of the Lord, then nothing remains. Then the person is breathing Krishna. And there is no scope for him for any deviation. And therefore, Krishna in the 7th chapter, which will come after 1 or 2 months, he gives a verdict. He gives a clear verdict. There are different types of yoga paths. Yoginam api sarvesham mat gaten antaratmana. Shraddhavan bhajante yomam same yukta tatoma mataha. So he says that there are different paths of yoga, but the yoga in which mat gaten antaratmana, that means if you completely abide in me, Shraddhavan bhajante man, always worship me and always be with me, such a person is more dear to me, and that is my opinion. Same yukta tatamo mataha. So that is my opinion. Krishna says this will come in the 7th chapter, but I am revealing it to you now, that verse, because we are now slowly, uh, you know, moving up in the yoga ladder. Slowly, Krishna is setting up the scene of which yoga path. There are so many yoga paths, all are leading to one goal, but which is easier for us to practice in Kali Yuga? That is what he's saying. Okay. Finally, we come to the last verse of the day. What is that verse? Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvan api na lipyate. So here it's like almost like a new section, because from this section till from this verse till verse number 12, Krishna explains, like in the previous verse he explained about this yoga yukta munir, a person who is on the path of liberation or liberated soul. So yoga yukta, what are his characteristics? Now Krishna is starting to reveal the characteristics. So yoga yukta vishuddhatma. So first thing, the person is vishuddhatma. We Shuddhatma, that means Atma, Shuddhatma. Shuddhatma is pure soul. We Shuddhatma. We means very pure. He is ultimately pure. So he's a very pure soul. Such a soul is like a Bhakta, Shuddhatma. And then he says he is Vijitatma and also Jitendriya. Vijitatma means one who can achieve Vijay over his Atma, when his mind. Here Atma is mind. That means he is basically controller of the mind. And Jitendriya. Jitendriya means somebody who can control the senses also. Such a person, what he is? Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma means he is very dear to all. All means not all human beings, all living beings. And everyone is dear to him as well. Everyone loves him, such a person. And such a person, Kurvan, is always, Kurvan means Karoti, Kurvan. Kurvan apina lipyate. Na lipyate. Lipyate means entanglement. Na lipyate, no entanglement. Very, very important lesson. Very important lesson for us. He is always free from this. So he is a basically liberated person. So here a clear definition of yoga yukta person is given. Let's read the translation also. One who works in devotion, that means like bhakti yoga, who is a pure soul, who is controlling his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. I'm remembering Srila Prabhupada's famous statement about my own Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Swarup Damasai Maharaj. It's famous quote, it is in writing, where Prabhupada says, Swarup Damodar is such a nice devotee that no one can be his enemies. And he's a friend of all. I mean, this I read without understanding that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, who is a yoga yukta person. He says clearly, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. And here Prabhupada says about my Guru Maharaj. I mean, imagine if a guru is giving this kind of a certificate to his Shishya, what more one desires? So it's very, very important. We all should endeavor in that direction. So automatically, this can happen only when we please the guru. Guru will not give a false certificate. And therefore, and the guru will give a certificate when we understand the actual root cause of everything, and we try to please the root cause. Okay. And the root cause is basically, if somebody understands the root cause, then he is a proper visionary. That particular yoga yukta is a proper visionary. So what is the vision of such a yoga yukta? So it's a beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, dear devotees, 4.31.14. Yata taror mool nischanena tripyanti skanda bhuja pakshaka pranoparach yatendriyanam tateva sarvahanam achyutejya. Such a beautiful verse. So what it means? You see this tree? This tree has got what? Mula, that is, so tree is taror. Mula is root. And it has got skanda and bhuja. That means the branches and these twigs or whatever leaves, bhujapa shaka leaves. So yata taror mula nischanena. That means just as pouring water to the root of this tree, what it does, it immediately energizes the entire trunk. You don't have to separately water the trunk, the twigs, the branches, the leaves. No, not required. It is foolishness. Directly water the root. Automatically the entire trunk get nourished, the entire twigs get nourished, the entire branches get nourished, leaves get nourishment. So yata taror moola nischanena tripyanti. Automatically it satisfies everything. Just like how, what is that? Uh, Pranopachara chayatendriyanam. That means just like how, the same way we feed the stomach. When the stomach is fed, then automatically all the remaining senses of the body and the limbs of the body, they get nourishment. So these two are the nice analogy that Krishna is giving. Then he says, similarly, Tateva Sarvaharam Achyuteja Aha. That means just like in the same way, if you satisfy Vishnu or Krishna, automatically you are pleasing the 33 crores demigods. Everybody is happy. No need to worry about them at all. We have to respect them, but we have to understand who is the root. The root, Krishna himself says here, he declares that I am the root and remaining all are parts of my body. So if you please him, Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam. See, Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam. If you please Krishna, the entire world can be happy. So this, dear devotee, is the vision that is given by the Yoga Yukta. And this is easily possible. We don't have to do any extra gymnastics or any difficult Ashtanga Yoga, etc. Just you have to chant Krishna's name. Just you have to honor Krishna Prasadam. Just you have to read Krishna's Vani through Prabhupada, the books. So many books are there. And just whatever we learn, we try to preach. That's all. Krishna will be happy. Nothing more. In this way, we can also control our senses. And automatically we transcend from becoming a Karma Yoga to Bhakti Yoga. And if you do that on a consistent basis, then automatically all the other living beings start liking you. Human beings so definitely will like you, and you will also start liking everyone. So thus he becomes a well-wisher for everyone, and you are out of the entanglement. I am ending with this beautiful verse of this. There's a famous verse from Teilhard de Jardin, where he says, "We are not human beings on a spiritual journey. We are not human beings on a spiritual journey, but we are spiritual beings on a human journey." What a profound statement. Hmm? So even a person who is not a devotee, like Teilhard de Jardin, so he is actually mentioning this. And according to me, Yoga Yukta is a person who is exactly fitting this, understanding. So, so I wanted to do some reflection open session, but maybe what we can do is now it is 8:30 already. I will directly jump into the quiz time. I could not maintain my schedule. I wanted to finish by 8:10 or 8:05, but I went overtime. So let's do this quiz time. First, we'll do the first two questions. That is from chapter 4, last session, session number 30. So there are only two questions in this, and be ready to answer. The question comes up now on the screen. This was by Arjun Saka. So, how many of you remember? Let us see. This will be tested now. Transcendental knowledge is, there is Jnana Yoga is sublime, pure, matured fruit of all mysticism, capable to destroy the sins, all of the above. Who wants to go? Okay, Saptadeep has already raised his hand. Yes, Saptadeep, go ahead. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Saptadeep. I can't hear you.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम
Yes, Dandavat Pranam.
इट्स ई ऑल ऑफ द अबव
All of the above.
या
Shall I lock it?
या प्रभु जी
You're very confident?
या इट्स ओके प्रभु जी
I like the spirit. And the answer is E. Wonderful. 50 brownie points to Saptadeep. A good
ओके
opening.
ऑल्सो दंडवत प्रणाम टू एवरीवन हरे कृष्ण
Dandavat Pranam. Question number two to complete chapter 4 quiz. The three S. A tough question. The three S in a person who can attain transcendental knowledge are. So, Saptadeep, your hand. Now your hand is down. Okay. A. Sense gratification, Shraddha and seriousness. B. Sense control, Shraddha and sense gratification. C. Sense control, seriousness and sense gratification. And D. Shraddha, seriousness and sense control. And D. None of the above. Okay, I saw Ramesh's hand go up first. So I would like to give Ramesh the first chance. Yes, Ramesh,
Hare
please.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
B,
Prabhu.
B for Bangalore. Yeah.
B, yeah, B for Bombay.
Yeah, correct, sir.
Okay, okay. So sense control, Shraddha and sense gratification. Correct? Correct,
Correct,
na?
correct, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So I'm locking the answer and I'm seeing what is the correct answer. And the correct answer is D. Because the three S of a person who can attain transcendental knowledge. So transcendental knowledge, you have to have Shraddha, you have to have seriousness, and you have to have sense control. Whereas the B had sense gratification. So sense gratification means a person who cannot have indirectly sense control, opposite of sense control. So such a person cannot attain transcendent knowledge. So the correct answer is D. Okay, sorry Ramesh, you have chance for making up in chapter number 5. So these were only the two questions for chapter 4. Now we go to chapter number 5. Okay, this is a very simple question. I'm sure all of you might probably get the answer straight away. The acronym for chapter 5 is steer, ears, stay, step. None of the above. I saw Mithali hand going up first. So welcome Mithali. Please go ahead and answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat.
Correct. Dandavat.
The option D.
D.
Yes.
D for Delhi, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
All right. I'm locking your answer. And the correct answer is not D. Sorry, it should be D only. I think I made a mistake here by putting C. It's step only because P for peace. So this is a mistake here. I'm sorry about that, but you got the correct answer. You answered correctly. So you get 50 brownie points. Very good. Congratulations to you. So is it the first time you're participating or you've participated before also? I have not seen you before.
My second time, Prabhu.
Second time. Okay. Very good. Please participate regularly because we want more participants who are keenly interested in following Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we go to the next question now. Question number 2 of chapter number 5. Only 3 questions, remember in this. So we are in question number 2. Arjuna's understanding at the beginning of chapter 5 was Karma Sannyas is better than Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is better than Karma Sannyas. Both are equally good. Both are not suitable for him. All of the above. Yes, Madhurika. Yes, Madhurika, please go ahead. You have raised your hand.
Prabhuji, the answer will be, I think both are not suitable for him.
Both are not suitable for him. That is, neither karma sannyas nor karma yoga are suitable for him. Not suitable for him, correct? That's what you're saying? Okay. We are talking about his understanding at the end of fourth chapter and at the beginning of fifth chapter, which led to the confusion. And you felt that both are not suitable for him, correct?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So let us see what is the correct answer, whether you are lucky or whether you are missing out. And the correct answer is actually A, because he thought that he has to renounce all his work, that is karma sannyas. Whereas Krishna was trying to explain to him to do karma yoga, work in devotion. Okay, renouncement in work, not renouncement of work. So that was the confusion. So therefore, at the beginning of this chapter, his understanding was karma sannyas is better than karma yoga. So that is what where he stands at the beginning of chapter 5. So sorry, Madhurika. So Sridhi, you are making a note, na? Who is getting how many points? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we come to the last question of the day. And this is question number 3. And the question is, the aim of Sankhya Yoga is, this I think you should get, to analyze the various elements of the material world, to find the root of the tree, to develop detachment from this material world, to follow the path of Pravritti Marg, all of the above. Yes, Srinidhi, your hand went first. Confused.
All of the above, I think.
All of the above?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Let me. You're sure, na?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, and the correct answer is A, B, and C, and not E, not D. I mean, definitely it is not E. Why it is not E? Because D says to follow the path of Pravritti Marg, whereas Sankhya
Okay.
Yoga is Nivritti Marg, Karma Yoga is Pravritti Marg. So only because of that one, you could do it. But then I would not give you minus 50 because there are other 3 also which were there. So maybe what we can do is instead of 50 brownie points, we'll give you 30 brownie points. So we can do that. Okay? Because
Prabhuji, what is Pravritti Marga?
Pravritti Marg is basically following the direction which directly leads to attachment to Krishna. Okay. Nivritti Marg is a path followed first by detachment. That means naiti, 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 not this, no this, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this. It's like, you're rejecting all the material things without getting attached to something. Whereas pravritti means directly I'm attached to Krishna. And then because the attachment, like I got attached to the apple, and then the axe automatically dropped from my hand. That is pravritti.
Yes.
Nivritti is I am looking ways and means now. First to remove this, then to remove this, detach, all those things, and finally it leads to this path only, longer path. That is Nivritti Marg. Got it?
Okay. Yes,
All
Prabhuji.
right.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's 8:40. We have gone overtime a little bit, but I'm happy that many of you chose to be present till the end, and I'm glad that if possible, try to get more people every week. We should try to increase this family because now it's getting to an interesting stage of Bhagavad Gita. Even if somebody has missed the initial part of Bhagavad Gita, it's okay. Please tell your friends. Come now because from now on, whatever we learn, it's very easy for us to apply in our lives. the philosophical content will slowly come down and more it will be juice which we'll start enjoying. So please do come attend, because ultimately we need to implement it in our in small ways to begin with, because if we understand what is our real goal of life, not to go to the forest, but definitely to be attached to Krishna. And so we keep Krishna as the goal, and around Krishna, whatever activities as per our dharma we have to do, we will do that. But our goal is to satisfy Krishna. And how to satisfy Krishna? That Krishna is, revealing it slowly, and then our Guru, who comes in our life, he will open the complete window for us. Okay, so with that we end today's session. Thank you all very much once again. Vancha
Thank you.
kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Have a nice Krishna conscious weekend and also a great week ahead. Another?
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry? What you are saying? Tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is Shivaratri. Happy Shivaratri in advance to all of you.
Turn left towards Sayaji Path.
Thank you very much. I'm ending the
Happy
session.
Shivratri, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Oh, great to see you, Prabhu, from Baroda. Finally,
Yes,
a good
Prabhuji.
time. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you
I
very
was
much.
there for the whole class.
Oh,
Hare
were you?
Krishna.
Okay.
Yes. I was there.
All right. Hare Krishna. I'm ending the session now.
Hare Krishna.
Join with
Hare
Sayaji Path, then take the exit towards Sayaji.